Hello there, this is the news on NTA International. I am Ogochkuka Ona. My sign language interpreter is Precious Ozemena. Now let's bring you the highlights of the news. Chief of Defense Staff holds joint security meeting just as lawmaker urges protesters to tow path of constructive dialogue. Independent National Electoral Commission releases final list of voters ahead of Edo and Ondo governorship elections. Plus, Kamala Harris picks Walz as running mate. A member of the House of Representatives, Akinlayo Kolawole, has appealed to the nationwide protesters to call off the protests and accept the olive branch being offered by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for constructive dialogue. Briefing National Assembly correspondents in Abuja, the lawmaker representing Ido-Osi Moba, Ilejemeje Federal Constituency of Ekiti State, emphasized that dialogue is the rational option towards addressing the reasonable demands of the protesters.
The youth that are protesting, I will visit them and advise and also beg them to please dialogue, that they should come to table for dialogue. So whatever demand they have, they can table it before the government. The one the government can do immediately, they will offer it. The one they can do in a long time process, they will also let them know. But as it is, this government is very new, and considering the level of decade inherited by the government. Like they said government is continuous, we all know. But if you inherit a bad structure, it will take a while for you to repair it and make it stand solid.
He calls for patience with the federal government in its quest to reduce poverty and improve socioeconomic conditions of the masses. Upholding peace, stability and sovereignty through security topped the agenda at a joint security press conference convened by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, to address pockets of unrest by some protesters and the waving of a foreign flag by some restive youths. Among them, Defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani reports.
We want to assure them, we on this side, that we are fully committed. We love Nigeria, we love the country. We are mindful of the fact that we are being paid, we are being equipped by monies generated from the country, and so we are duty bound to protect the country. We are only after those that are against the state, not those that are innocent. So I want to make that very clear. We will continue to work together as a team to support Mr. President in achieving his mandate of peace and tranquility in our dear country, Nigeria.
And similarly, Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has cautioned people joining the nationwide protest in the state against being involved in the violent attacks, as that will only lead to the setback of the nations. All right, economy. This was the governor's remark shortly after an Emergency Security Council meeting at the Government House in Bauchi.
The Security Council meeting followed the recent attack by some hoodlums on public and private property who hid behind the continued nationwide protest in Azare town of Katagun local government area. Governor Bala Mohammed, while expressing dismay over the activities of some groups of protesters, also advised for proper understanding of the effort put in place by the government at all levels toward addressing the economic hardship facing in the country.
It is not about political party, it is not about federal government, it is not about the subnational or local authorities, it is about governance at all levels, and if you segregate it down, it is about leadership at all levels, even the traditional rulers and what have you. So we have heeded the call, but certainly we have taken very firm and very serious measure to make sure that this thing does not happen. by the declaration of curfew 24 hours in Azare, and making sure we are going to assure all the citizens and people of Bauchi of their safety and security.
The meeting was attended by head of security agencies, religious and traditional leaders, alongside other relevant stakeholders. In Bauchi, Awwal Abdullahi, NTA News.
And in Abuja, normal activities are gradually returning around the city, with security relaxed at strategic places like the Eagles Square and its environs. Correspondent Joseph Otsen has an update from the Abuja Central area and Moshood Abiola National Stadium, venue of the protest.
The nationwide protest here at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium is calm, with just a few protesters here, numbered just about 5. They are staying inside the stadium and not outside. People are not allowed to gather outside except inside at the main board of the National Stadium. But because there are so few, they are hanging around just along the trees. Behind me, there are journalists who are also there to cover the event. But as the days of the national protest wind down, it seems we are having more journalists here than the protesters themselves. Meanwhile, in other parts of the town, like the Secretariat, the Eagle Square, the Unity Fountain, we saw no protesters there. Also, a drive around the town shows that there are more vehicular movement and a lot of businesses opening up. It seems things are returning to normal and there's calmness everywhere. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
And just like Joseph said, normalcy is gradually returning to the nation's capital after days of agitation by protesters. We now join correspondent Bosede Abel Amosu for an update.
The usual hustle and bustle for daily bread is returning to this part of the metropolis, known as Area 10 UTC, one of the busiest business hubs in Abuja.
Actually, I'm a graphic designer. So I have to come back to work because I have some unfinished job on ground. So that was why I came out. I don't know for any other person.
A drive along some banks showed that most commercial banks are rendering skeletal services and are optimistic things will normalize as the day progresses. In Abuja, Bosede Abel Amosu, NTA News.
The curfew imposed on the state capital by the Kano state government has again been relaxed from 18 to 12 hours. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf disclosed this at the end of a Security Council meeting held at the government house. Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
As usual, the Security Council meeting was held behind closed doors. Led by Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, the meeting had in attendance heads of security agencies in the state. The end of the security meeting was the beginning of that of the State Executive Council. It was at the Executive Chamber that the Governor announced the decision to review the curfew from 18 to 12 hours to enable residents to continue with their daily engagements between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m.
The government is doing everything possible to ensure that our youths are empowered to become self-reliant and to have a brighter future for themselves and for their families.
More than 600 suspects were arrested and been detained by the Kano Police Command. Due to the large number, 3 chief magistrates were deployed to the police headquarters to handle the trial.
Because of the weight of the allegations involved, all of them will have to be remanded, and subsequently trial will continue up to the time that the case will be concluded and will be ready for judgment by the courts.
While prosecution continues, Governor Yusuf's spokesperson Sanusi Dawakin disclosed plans by Kano State Government to constitute a commission of inquiry into the violence. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the ECOWAS Commission has expressed deep regrets over reports of violence in the course of the protests and the unfortunate death of some protesters, as well as alleged looting and destruction of public and private properties. In a statement, the Commission states that it has been closely monitoring the ongoing protests by citizens of Nigeria. It recognizes the rights of citizens to peaceful protests as guaranteed by the 2001 ECOWAS Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance, and also enshrined in the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. The Commission welcomes the State of the Nation address of 4th August 2024 by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and urges protesters and all stakeholders to heed the President's call for inclusive dialogue, for the resolution of all grievances, and for the preservation of peace and security in Nigeria and the ECOWAS region at large. The Commission extends heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families and sympathizes with the government and people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria over the losses. The parliament in Bangladesh has been dissolved following the demands of coordinators of the student protest, who are also asking for the formation of a 19 government. Francis Udojo has more.
The Parliament's office said coordinators of the protest, among other demands, asked for the dissolution of the Parliament, urging revolutionary students to be ready. Meanwhile, Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus has agreed to be the chief advisor for the soon-to-be-formed interim government in line with the demands of the leaders. Bangladesh Army Chief General Waqar Uz Zaman, who took charge Monday, is expected to meet the protest coordinators. The parliament was being dissolved a day after longtime Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country following weeks of deadly unrest. Organizers of student-led protest met with army officials insisting they will not accept a military-led government. Reports say students are forming vigilante groups and controlling the congested streets of the capital, the seventh most densely populated city in the world, after the police went on strike. European Union heads of mission in Dhaka say they are very concerned about incoming reports of multiple attacks against places of worship and members of religious, ethnic and other minorities in Bangladesh. EU Ambassador to Bangladesh Charles Whiteley posted on X. Protests broke out at university campuses in June after the High Court reinstated a quota system for government jobs, which favored relatives of veterans of Bangladesh's War of Independence. The ruling overturned a 2018 decision by Hasina's government to scrap it. Francis Udojo, NT News.
The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Karim Khan, has addressed the United Nations Security Council in New York as he delivers his biannual report on Darfur. Again, Francis Udojo reports that while the council referred the matter to the ICC in 2005, the main focus has been on crimes that took place after April 2023.
Karim Khan remarked, and I quote, "To those on the ground today in Darfur, I am addressing both the Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces, to those that are aiding and abetting them, that are encouraging them, that are funding them, that are supplying them with weapons, that are giving orders, that are gaining certain advantages. I want to be crystal clear that we are investigating." End of quote. The prosecutor previously mentioned the ongoing crimes in North Darfur and the regional capital of El Fasher. Karim Khan expressed confidence and optimism that his next report will include a request for arrest warrants for several key individuals involved in the ongoing situation. Beyond the civil war in Sudan, the prosecutor highlighted the cases of former President Omar al-Bashir, who has never been handed over, and former Minister Ahmed Haroun, who reportedly moves freely. The prosecutor called for Sudan's cooperation in their arrest. Karim Khan also sought the cooperation of the Rapid Support Forces (RSF), led by General Hamid.
we're using our resources as effectively as we can to make sure that the events also since April of last year are subjected to the principle of international humanitarian law.
He commended the financial and political support for the militias and the inaction of the international community. Since 2005, only one trial against Janjaweed leader has taken place in The Hague. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Thank you, Francis. You're watching the news on NTA International. We'll take a break. More reports in a moment. Welcome back, and straight up to health reports. The World Health Organization, WHO, has supplied 2,400 test kits to Uganda's Ministry of Health to strengthen the country's response to monkeypox through rapid laboratory identification of cases. Francis Udojo tells us more.
The kits are among the first monkeypox laboratory tools received in the country and will be used by the Uganda Virus Research Institute to begin testing for the disease. Already, the test kits have yielded some positive results as samples sent to the facility have confirmed 2 cases of monkeypox. A statement released by the Ministry of Health indicates that since the global monkeypox outbreak in early May 2022, Uganda has been shipping its samples to the National Institute of Communicable Diseases Laboratory in South Africa for testing. Uganda's Minister of Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Osero, said the test kits donated by WHO will provide timely results on monkeypox. WHO representative in Uganda, Dr. Jonas Tegen Waldemariam, says it will continue to support the country to strengthen its surveillance activities to prevent any importation of cases, but also to ensure rapid detection of cases for immediate support.
We do not have the reagents and supplies to test for it, but we are in contact with the DRC to send us some of what they use. We are also thinking of either having 1 or 2 people go and train from there. It wouldn't take very long to do a training, and then we start testing for the disease here.
On July 31, Kenya declared an outbreak of Mpox in the country following its detection in Taita Taveta, southeast of the country's capital of Nairobi. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Kamala Harris has picked Tim Walz as her running mate for the presidential election. Walz, the Minnesota governor and a former high school teacher, will become vice president if Harris beats Donald Trump in the November polls. Harris interviewed several top contenders in Washington, D.C. over the weekend. Contenders include state governors Josh Shapiro and Tim Walz. The announcement is coming as Harris begins a tour of key battleground states, starting with a rally in Philadelphia. Now, the federal government, in collaboration with the International Cotton Advisory Committee, has started the resuscitation of Nigeria's cotton industry, targeting the creation of more than 1.4 million jobs annually in the cotton and textile industry. This was the outcome of a meeting between Vice President Kashim Shettima and a delegation from the International Cotton Advisory Committee, led by its Executive Director, Eric Trachenberg, at the presidential villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Developing key components of the cotton value chain in line with the industrialization drive of the President Bola Tinubu administration is part of efforts to ensure the country harnessed opportunities in the value chain for Nigeria to regain its membership in the International Cotton Advisory Committee membership. Vice President Kashim Shettima urged stakeholders to come up with a roadmap for the revitalization of the cotton and textile sector in Nigeria, noting that it is time to work more and talk less.
New opportunity that is creating a new partnership for us to cross-pollinate ideas with the experts to bring new skills, new ideas, and new and fresh innovations into revamping the industries in Nigeria.
Part of the things that you see with our garment manufacturer is actually polyester, not cotton. And polyester happens to be cheaper than cotton. Cotton is a higher, grade to sew as against using polyester. And polyester, if our refineries were working, for what we've also been understood now, is actually supposed to be one of the byproducts coming out from the refinery. So really for us is to look at the entire value chain. There's so many things that we can trap back in this country.
That one of the things that killed the textile industry is policy. Now we are revisiting policies to ensure that we restore it and launch Nigeria to the path of economic recovery. As for us at the customs, we are affirming and we are committing ourselves. We do all we can to make sure that we protect the textile industry.
The stakeholders believe that this is the beginning of Nigeria's quest to revamp the textile industry as part of the broad objectives for industrializing the economy.
Now is the time, and ICAC is ready to help with Nigeria, to help you achieve your goals as a country, to help create quality jobs, to help generate foreign exchange, and reimagine the global cotton economy and the Nigeria cotton and textiles economy.
Because many of the textiles have closed down because of lack of raw materials, and there's lots of smuggling. So once that one is done, the textiles will come back. We'll have about 70 textiles to come, because today now we have only 24 textile mills in Nigeria instead of 200 in the past. So the booming days will come, and we're going to survive by His grace.
With this commitment, Nigeria is well positioned to harness opportunities in the cotton value chain, given that it hosts the factories, the market, and is a critical component of the business ecosystem for the cotton subsector. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Now, ahead of the Edo and Ondo governorship elections scheduled for September and November this year, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has released the final list of voters as the continuous voter registration exercise ends in the two states. In Edo, a total of 2,629,025 registered voters will participate in the September governorship election, while 2,053,006 to take part in that of November. A statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Sam Olumeko, says in the next few days, the Commission will release the timetable for the collection of permanent voters' cards, PVCs, for the two states. The PVCs for all categories of voters, including new registrants from the last continuous voter registration, voters that applied for transfers, replacements, and collected voters from the previous registrations. And now hope rises for Olympic medals as Nigerian athletes hinge close to podium finish. For more on this and other stories, I will now go over to Olumide Eguntola on Sports Update.
Nigerians Eze Brume, Ruth Uzoro, and Christina Ochonogo are through to the final of the women's long jump event at the ongoing Paris Olympic Games. Brume hit the automatic qualification mark of 6.75 meters, limping 6.76 meters, while Ruth and Christina qualified as part of the top 12 performers with the best jumps of 6.68 meters and 6.65 meters respectively. The final is scheduled for 7 p.m. Nigerian time on Thursday, 8th of August. Still on the Olympics, United States of America team is on top of the medals table at the ongoing Paris Olympic Games Tuesday with 21 gold, 30 silver, and 28 bronze medals.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's favour Philly and Blessing Oborududu will be the signature of all eyes Tuesday as Team Nigeria attempts to get on the medals table. Ofili will attempt to become the first ever Nigerian and African sprinter to win the 200 meters Olympic gold medal after Mary Oyali's bronze medal feat 28 years ago in Atlanta 1996 Olympics. Ofili takes on World Superpowers Tuesday at the final of the 200 meters event. Nigeria's Tobi Amusan will begin a campaign on Friday when the women's 100 meters hurdles will start. In another news, Kende Lamidi reports that the Ondo State government is upgrading some facilities at the Akure Stadium. The State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Saka Ogunleye, who disclosed this, promised that the state government will further motivate the athletes to perform brilliantly at the forthcoming National Youth Games and the National Sports Festival.
Mr. Governor graciously approved the upgrading of this sports council.
But we are talking about upgrading. We are trying to upgrade our facilities that's obsolete. We have listened to our coaches here and there. We also identify with them.
With sports update, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
And now a check on Wednesday's weather prospect for Nigeria and other cities of the world. And this is where we end the news this hour. Thanks for watching. My sign language interpreter has been Precious Zebeda. I'm Ogochkuka Ona.